a CPA before I started at the IRS. I started at the IRS in 1988. Any Internal Revenue agents in here? Any FBI agents in here? Anybody? Go ahead, stand up. I like to talk to you guys. I like to educate you. But in 88, I started at the IRS. I was there. I started off as a revenue agent. I ended up as a revenue agent. I just, went up several steps while I was there. I left in 95. Now, I'm going to tell you what went on while I was there, first of all. The revenue officer, the one who levied your bank account, the one who garnished your wages or put the letter out there for that, he didn't have authority. I didn't have authority either. Some of you who are familiar with the Truth and Taxation hearings that we had in February, where I had a copy of my pocket commission, and I'm sorry I didn't bring it, but it says that I have the authority to do all this stuff, and then it has some certain codes at the bottom of them. And when you look in the Internal Revenue regulations, those codes mean I had a non-enforceable pocket commission. I'm flipping this badge out at you, sir. You need to give me your books and records now, And all that time I thought I had some authority and didn't have any authority. Because as you talk to people that are within the IRS now, they may believe what you have to say. A lot of them don't have other skills. A lot of them are not CPAs, so they couldn't go to work for a CPA firm or start their own CPA firm or whatever. Especially in the collection division, a lot of them, all they know is collections. So the only thing that they could get is another collection job, but they're not going to get anywhere near $50,000, $60,000 there. So they have shackles on them too. That's not to justify why they're still there. Most of them are still there because they don't know. Once you know, then you got to make that decision. As much as I found out that you all aren't required to file a tax return, and then I found out not only that, I didn't have the authority to ask you for that. So that was wrong. But the ATF was out there. That was another thing. That's another hint that I didn't know until I left and did the research. When there was a situation where there was a raid, where the Internal Revenue Service decided that they were going to take someone's property, whether it be their house, their car, their business, or whatever, then I noticed and didn't understand then why there were so many people there. I would look up and I would see my revenue officer friends, but I'd also see the ATF with their jackets on. And I'm thinking, oh, they must be getting ready to raid a really big business because they've got 15 people in here, and most of them aren't from the IRS, they're from the ATF. Why was the ATF there? They are the only ones that have enforcement authority. You are familiar with We the People Foundation. Okay. The first ad that I was aware of came out in the USA Today in July of 2000. And one of my ministers called and said that there's one of my parishioners, and she just has some stuff she just really wants to talk to you about. Can I give you her telephone number? So I said, sure. Well, can the minister give the girl my number? The girl called me and she asked me point blank, are we or are we not supposed to file taxes? Now, I hadn't done any research, and I didn't tell her, oh, you know you better file. We've been filing taxes for 88 years. I didn't tell her that. I said, well, you want the canned answer or do you want the real answer? And she said, I want the real answer. And I said, well, I haven't done any research, but, there's a lot of evidence out there that evidently is floating around that says we're not. And then she lit up and started telling me. She talked to me for an hour, and she let me know about the USA Today had just come out. Now, that first USA Today on July 7th, 2000, among other things, had a challenge in there from Bill Conklin. Anybody know Bill Conklin? Bill Conklin had a $50,000 reward in there for anybody who could prove, and I'm paraphrasing, that we owe taxes. And you know, $50,000 to me is a lot of money. And I kept my codes and regulations from the IRS. I had them on my shelf. I could see them from my desk. I said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set aside 3 or 4 days to write this man up maybe a 15-page paper on where in the law it says that we have to pay taxes. I'm going to get this $50,000. I'm going to pay off this car I bought my husband for his birthday. I'm going to pay off the Visa bill. I mean, that's the type person I am. When I make a decision, I make a decision. So I said, okay, I'm going to put everything aside. I'm going to do this research. Now, 2 days later, I was doing like this. You know, because as I was using the real codes and regulations that we never looked at when I was at the IRS, I started seeing some strange things in there, some inconsistencies and some double talk and some triple talk and a lot of legalese. And I said, wait a minute, I am not able to prove this man wrong after 2 days. So I put it down, maybe a couple of days, and I got back into it. And then maybe after 2 weeks, I discovered this thing is a big hoax. And I started to do a lot of research. I started sucking up everything I could see. And I heard about Joe Bannister through the We the People paper. Joe Bannister was a criminal investigation agent for the IRS that left. So we talked on the phone for a long time, and that's how I got to meet Joe Bannister. He's my CPA, and I'm his CPA. So if Joe Bannister has a problem in California, I'm on a plane. That's where we've got to be. We've got to stick together. We've got to stick together as a group because, number one, you all know that there's power in numbers. Number two, he can't be out there on his own. You know, they'll try to shoot him down, but if he's by himself, but if there are 50 of us out there, then they're going to be a little bit more careful about what they do, and they're going to be afraid. So that's how I started rolling with this information. I'm still in research mode. I don't have a lot of time to do research, but as much as I can get away with, I do, because my children are still preteens, and I am first a wife and a mother before all of this. So that's what happened. You know, the Bible says a lot of things, and for those of you who don't want to hear about the Bible, I'm not going to be long with it, but that's what I go by. My father always taught me to be the best at what you're going to do and be it all the way. If you're going to be a prostitute, be the best prostitute out there. And yes, he did say that. My father did say that to me. So I learned that if I was going to get into something, I was going to get into it. Okay, so as I became a Christian and started reading, all this stuff started kicking in about my responsibilities, and then, you know, that made the decision easier to leave the IRS. And for those of you who've talked to your Christian friends about this issue, and they'll bring up 2 issues to me. Number one, they'll say, well, the Bible says, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Okay, my response to that was, this ain't Caesar's. Okay? That scripture, if you really look at it, it says, therefore, if you owe taxes, pay taxes. If you owe tribute, pay tribute. That if is there, and I don't owe it. I need to be able to do what I want to do with my energy. If I want to work 16 hours a day in my office to make a little bit more money so my family can go on a decent vacation, I don't want you taking my money. Educate those who are interested in doing something about it. You know, 9 times out of 10, it's that small business owner who the IRS is trying to suck everything out of. Federal taxes, state taxes, the self-employment tax and all. That's where you should start as far as your education is concerned. Those who feel like they have something to lose. Because if you got a W-2 and they're already taking 12 out, you're really not seeing it. But if you have to write a $12,000 check at the end of the year, then you're more apt to start paying attention to people like us, right? backbone. And if you're going to sit up there and read this information and hee-haw about it and get on the fence, just go somewhere and sit down. This is a fight. One of the things that I want to get across to you about levies and liens and all that stuff and W-4s. First of all, somebody asked about W-4s. Now, I haven't had to deal with the W-4 since I left. Some people are signing them without prejudice and all that stuff they talked about before. Some people aren't signing them at all. The bottom line that I have to say to you about W-4s is if you are there for a fight, then you're going to have to fight. If you have an employer that is teachable and you bring to this employer the law concerning the W-4 and withholding being for the non-resident aliens and all that, you're going to find out whether or not they're going to obey the law or whether they're going to be afraid of the IRS. So you have to make a decision if they're going to be afraid of the IRS. Am I willing to go further with this, or am I going to acquiesce to some kind of a compromise? I'm not telling you what to do. Some people end up being fired because they refuse to fill it out, or they refuse to fill it out with anything but exempts. So it's up to the person. Am I willing to get fired and go find another job because this idiot will not listen to me? I called the IRS. It was an employer that was given this information. He called the IRS and says, hey, this employee, this is the one I sent you the exempt W-4, and you sent it back saying I have to withhold at the single zero rate, and now he's showing me this information saying that I'm not supposed to do this stuff. And, you know, and he says he's going to sue me if I take his money out. Are you going to defend me? And the IRS, of course, told him no, they're not going to defend him. So the guy said, okay. And then he stopped withholding on the guy. So it all depends on the employer. And I'm talking about not just the employer, but all the people who are responsible for whatever outlets the IRS is using to get your money. They need to be educated. The bank manager, the bank president, if you go in and educate these people, be nice to them. Hi, sir. My name is Sherry Jackson, and I've had an account here since I was 11. When my mother was a DeKalb County social worker, she started my account. I was 11 years old. It was a savings account, and then as I got older and got a job, I opened up a checking account here, and I've always had my accounts here. My first 2 cars that I financed here. And I wanted to let you know something. Here's some information I want to go over with you. This is a notice of levy. The IRS sends these things out. You may have seen one before floating around in here, but I want to let you know this is a notice of levy. This isn't a levy. And see, the real levy applies here. It says it applies to, federal government employees, and some of these people that are at the bank aren't, that you're getting these notices of levy, they aren't government employees. And also, it's a notice of levy. A real levy, you have to have signed by a judge, and no. So I'm just letting you know, if you get one of these notices of levy with my name on it, I would suggest that you not freeze my bank account or take any money, because I'll sue you personally and I'll sue the bank. I'm going to leave this information with you, sir, so you can go over it. If you have any questions, here's my card, so you can give me a call and I can give you further information and I can educate you more. But I just want to let you know that what you're getting from the IRS is not valid. I know a lot of people are scared. They live in fear about the IRS, and they think that everything that they get from the IRS is true. But see, here, I'm giving you this information, and I'm letting you know that this is not true. This isn't a true levy, So if you have any questions, again, let me know. But, I would suggest that you not bother my bank account. If they send you a notice of levy on me, you can give me a call, and we can go over this information, and I can show you point by point what's wrong, again, if it's been a while. But don't take any money out of my account, or I'm going to have to be forced to sue you in the bank. Have a good day. And that's for anybody that the IRS uses, because the IRS never seizes anything. They never seize anything. They get your employer, they get the tow truck company, they get others to do their dirty work. Those are the people that you need to educate. We need to educate our police officers. They don't know. Educate our sheriff's departments, the deputy sheriffs, the police officers, anybody that you think in the end is going to have some influence. And even those people who are naysayers or might, say you're crazy, what if they're on a jury one day and somebody's put on trial for failure to file a tax return or something like that, they're going to know that there's something going on. They're going to remember you. So at least give them some information. What percentage of the population actually took part in the revolution?
20%? Less than that. 3 or 4%. 15%.
It was 3 or 4%. 3 or 4%. 3 or 4% of the people took part in the revolution. And they were able to defeat the British. So I don't get that upset when we don't have hundreds and hundreds of people. As long as I tell somebody, and it keeps going, eventually we're going to get to the bottom of it. Rose has just come out with a video. How many of you have seen Larkin Rose's video? The video is superb. A 15-year-old will be able to understand who is truly liable for the income tax. It's done in computagenics. How many of you know about the VeggieTales? Okay. It's a kiddie thing. It's done like the VeggieTales, and the little people move around, and the IRS agent is trying to get the money, and he got this smile on his face thinking he's getting the money, but after Larkin explains everything, he gets this big frown and walks off. But you know what? He did it simply. He didn't sound like a raving lunatic, although he is monotone. Please do not eat a big dinner and then put this video in. But you know, with us who are already understanding, you know, you're going to be so excited when you see this video. His website for the video is different from his regular website, and it is theft, THEFT, hyphen, BY, hyphen, deception, DECEPTION.com. I wouldn't have my kids in the government schools. Now, my kids are in private Christian school. I tried homeschooling for a couple of weeks at one point. I am not graced to homeschool because I have 2 strong-willed children, and it didn't work out. But some of you can homeschool, and if I had to dig ditches, people, I'd rather dig ditches than have my kids in the government school. Am I done?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay,
no,
I would rather dig ditches than have my kids in the government school. So if it comes to the point where I'm not making enough money to keep them in there, then I'm going to dig ditches. I'll work at McDonald's. I'll go to Burger King. I'll do whatever. But they are not going to government schools. And I suggest that you tell your children, those of you who are grandparents, and your friends, and explain to them that they need to protect our kids. And right now, they're drones, and they're coming up, and they're gonna tell you that you are the one that's wrong. For the Internal Revenue Service, for the Department of Justice, and for the Senate Finance Committee for their upcoming April 11th hearing, the hearing that we were banned from. I want to know why a private, unauditable banking organization, the Federal Reserve, is in charge of the money supply, using the IRS as bouncers to strong-arm anyone who opposes the club, using unauthorized revenue agents to collect $40 million an hour in interest from hard-working Americans. I want to know why Congress doesn't print the money itself and eliminate income taxes altogether. I want to know why the IRS and the Department of Justice won't meet with us, answer our questions about the legality of the income tax, and prove us wrong so we can put this baby to bed. I want to know how the IRS can demand over 30% of my hard-earned money when God only requires 10%. I want to know why the media has blacked out coverage of all intelligent debate and discussion on the income tax while focusing on people in trouble for arguments that are not on point to the truth. I want to know why you continue to think the American people are not paying attention to this issue. As of April 3rd, 2002, CNN reported that over half the American citizens had not filed a 2001 tax return. Americans are not stupid. The sleeping giant is waking up. I want to know what Constitution the Congress and the courts are following. It certainly isn't the one in the National Archives, based on what it says and what they are doing. I want to know who in this great country is willing to stand up and prove Alan Dershowitz wrong. This guy is the Harvard law professor who says, we don't have any unalienable rights, that all our rights are subject to modification, that the government should not be chained by the Constitution because the government can do good things for people. Yeah, right, Professor. I want to know why there are people sitting in jail for failure to file when these questions have not been answered. Let them out until you show us the law. I want to know why, after physical slavery was abolished in 1865, how it is that I'm still a slave in 2002. I challenge the Congress, the press, law enforcement, and any citizen with a backbone to turn off the TV, put down the romance novel and the golf clubs for just long enough to demand the answers to our questions from Congress while there's still some faith in the system. Show me the law. Thank you. Now, I challenge Kwasi Mfume of the NAACP, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, the Concerned Black Clergy, the Congressional Black Caucus, Joseph Lowry, and Martin Luther King III of the SCLC to stop concentrating on racial division and get your CPAs, your attorneys, and your membership to research the legality of this invisible shackle. It appears to me that this is a black and white issue, but there are those that are hiding behind shades of gray. They're calling us tax cheats, they're calling us fanatics, they're calling us weirdos. Now you can call me a fanatic, you can call me a weirdo, you can call me a kook, you can call me bad, you can call me dingy, you can call me Bozo the Clown. I don't care what you call me, but I have one question, and I challenge the media to ask it along with me and stop just quoting rhetoric. Where is the law? Show me the law.